Hi everybody and welcome to the Whiskey Dictionary. Today we're going to be talking about Woodford Reserve Rye. This particular whiskey was released in 2015 and is the third permanent installment in the Woodford Reserve line, as opposed to the Masters collection that they do every year. So, interesting thing about this whiskey, this will be the first one on the show that I've ever reviewed that I've never tried prior to the review. I don't know if you can tell, but it's still sealed. So, I'm going to go ahead and open this up and pour myself a glass and tell you a little bit about it. So this is a particularly light rye as far as the percentage of rye, 53% as opposed to the 33% corn and the 14% malt that is in this particular mash bill. So it's going to be a pretty light rye, certainly 51% I believe is the, requirement for a rye. So I'm going to kind of go in clean here and give it a nosing and a tasting and see what we think. So the first thing I noticed, as opposed to say the Bullet Rye, which was I think 95% rye, this is very, very sweet smelling. It has kind of a caramely flavor, actually a little bit of apple in there too. And that's, I'm sure, because of the 33% corn, you've got that sweet smell. Not overpowered by spice like some of the other ryes. It's very, it's kind of got like a thick texture. It's got some legs. And as far as color goes, it's pretty like light amber. So let's, yeah, actually kind of interesting. Despite it being a rye, you really don't pick up on a whole lot of the spice notes. You get a little cinnamon maybe in there. All right, so let's go right into the tasting because I'm actually very eager to try this. I've had this bottle since I don't know, a few months ago, and still have yet to try it. So cheers. Wow, that's really cool. I like that a lot. So the first thing that you notice is immediately it hits you with a bit of sweet. And once again, from the corn. So you're going to pick up, actually there's a lot of flavor going on in there. So you've got some ginger, which is surprising actually. You got the typical oak, caramel, kind of woody taste. But the rye's not really coming out like super harsh. Actually, it's kind of nice. This tastes almost like regular Woodford Reserve, except with a bit more character. Flat out, this is really, really good. You can kind of tell, actually, it's interesting. A lot of people are getting into say the craft bourbon industry right now. They're putting out their new make for a little while, and then they're producing these bourbons because they don't age for a really long time. And in fact, this only has to age for about 4 years. It's a straight rye. So you don't get a whole lot of like the craft rye because rye in general is a more expensive grain to produce. But you end up getting these really flavorful ryes from some of the bigger name distilleries out there. That's why you see a lot of like I think even Maker's Mark has one now. But you got Bullet, you got Woodford Reserve, several others. But this might actually top the well. If you're looking for a whiskey that tastes like a rye whiskey, that Bullet is still probably better. But this might be a really good introduction to a rye whiskey, especially if you like bourbon. It's kind of just like barely one step above a bourbon. Let me try another sip here. Yeah, that's really tasty. I'm going to look forward to drinking the rest of this bottle. All right, well, I think it's pretty obvious that I definitely recommend that you pick this up. It's about 38 bucks. It's obviously not super expensive. Actually, it's less than the double oak, which I wasn't a huge fan of. Although over the course of drinking the rest of that bottle, I started liking it a little bit more. But either way, I still wouldn't waste the money on the double oak. But this guy's pretty good, especially for its first year out. I mean, it's early 2016 right now. That it was out most of last year, but They haven't really altered the recipe or anything. Interesting thing, so the Masters Collection that they do every year, about 4 years ago, maybe 5, they did a rye, actually. So my thought is that they were testing the waters to see if people liked it. I personally didn't get to try it, but I would almost guarantee that it tastes very similar to this. Otherwise it seems like a bit of a coincidence that in just the amount of time that you need to age a rye whiskey, they started producing one. But either way, highly recommend it. Go ahead and buy it, and I'll see you next time on the Whiskey Dictionary. I'm going to be reviewing the Jack Daniel's Sinatra Select, actually. So I got my hands on a bottle of that. So if you feel like going out and buying it, I think it's like about 150 bucks or so. So it's a bit expensive, but I've tried it, and I'll let you know what I think about it next time I talk to you on the Whiskey Dictionary.